Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. We begin in Syria, where the army had seized new ground from the rebels in the eastern Ghouta region. Government forces have been attacking rebels in the Maraj area of the Ghouta for several days and have captured the villages of Housh al-Dawahra and Housh al-Zriqa, in addition to hills and farmland. Government forces are also said to have made notable advances on the western edge of the rebel enclave at Harasta. However, and for the fourth day, no civilians left Ghouta from the humanitarian corridor. The World Health Organization said nearly 100 patients in eastern Ghouta, including children, are the priority for medical evacuations among more than 1,000 sick and wounded in the enclave. The government said it may allow an aid convoy with supplies for 180,000 people to go to the town of Douma in the besieged enclave of eastern Ghouta on Sunday. The capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, was hit by multiple attacks targeting the French embassy, the French Cultural Center, and the country's military headquarters. 7 members of the security forces have been killed, while around 50 people were wounded. Witnesses said masked gunmen with sacks on their backs attacked the army headquarters, and then an explosion rocked the compound, setting the building on fire. Shortly afterwards, and just 2 kilometers away, the French embassy came under attack. So far, there is no claim of responsibility for the attacks, the third major assault in the capital in just over 2 years. In business news, U.S. stocks opened sharply lower today on fears that a trade war could take place after U.S. President Donald Trump announced tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. Trump made the announcement yesterday to implement a 25% tariff on steel imports and a 10% tariff on aluminum imports next week. In the wake of the announcement, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 278.93 points, the S&P 500 lost 21.96 points, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 78.61 points. To Europe, where severe cold is still gripping as a cold spell, dubbed Beast of the East, caused widespread chaos and havoc. Britain's military was deployed to central and western England to help get hospital employees to work and to assist police in rescuing people from snowbound vehicles. The big freeze caused travel chaos throughout the country, with hundreds of flights cancelled at Heathrow Airport, Europe's largest air hub. Other European airports closed down entirely, including Geneva's airport. The storm knocked out Ireland's entire public transport network, closed its airports, and left roads extremely dangerous. The snowstorm is the worst Europe has seen for nearly 30 years. Still in Europe, and Paris Fashion Week that saw Issey Miyake present its Autumn-Winter 2018 collection. Models draped in white, oversized looks opened the show, followed by bursts of the colored pleats that are Issey Miyake's trademark. The collection was inspired by the natural world, where thick jumpers and loose trousers were paired with feathers and fur, a small hint of life emerging from the cold. At the heart of the collection was the brand's innovative fabric, formed by a technique known as 3D steam stretch, which involves weaving stretchable threads into fabrics that lie flat until steam is applied, at which they twist into geometric shapes. To sports and the Dubai Tennis Championship, Frenchman Luca Pouille reached the finals after beating Filip Krajinovic of Serbia. The second seed and world number 15 fought his way into the finals with a 6-3, 6-7, 7-6 triumph. Pouille will tomorrow play the winner of the second semi-final between Roberto Bautista Agut and Malik Jaziri. And finally, for a quick look at the weather, a further rise in temperature is in the forecast to become 4 to 5 degrees above seasonal average, bringing warm weather across the kingdom. Amman tomorrow can expect a high of 20 degrees Celsius and a low of 11 degrees. Further south in the Gulf of Aqaba, relatively hot conditions are in the forecast, with daytime temperatures at 29 degrees, sliding down to 17 at night. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Alia Tuqan. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.